you have an item.
I just want to reiterate my concern from the other night that every decision that planning board makes comes with first a recommendation from the
From
department.
staff, yeah.
Except this happened the other night, that we were not given a recommendation, and it left for a very confusing amount of conversation. And that was in regards to whether or not the building that was changed. And I just wanted some clarification about, as a planning board, we're not planners, and that decision still left me really perplexed around our planning principles and how that's supposed to transpire. And this is of no offense to Mr. Forbes, but I just could not believe that we were expected to make that decision without any recommendation from the planning staff.
So I can try to explain that.
Yeah, yes. you sure
So
can.
that's when you're dealing with a concept development plan. So that, without going into this, when you get a concept development plan, it's up to the developer, right? It means it's wide open in regard to what you want to propose there. So there's no criteria. So on this one, you'll be dealing with that on Monday night. There's no issues with what the developer has done. When you get a concept development plan approved, when you start to do your phases, you need to bring the first, whatever phases you want in, to go back through the planning board and council to get them to concur that it's what, in your mind, was agreed upon through the public hearing process, right? So on the issue of design, the only issue that came up at the planning board meeting was the issue of the design of the building. So I don't have, that Mike maybe have got able to find it, but the bylaw says that if it's,
But again, I guess, Alex, just stop you there for a second, that's really the issue, right? If it's a design factor, then how can planning board make a decision on it, on design?
Well, what it is though, is that when you folks had the public meeting, and it's like, anytime you're dealing with a concept plan, it's the developer shows you and the community a design as to what they want to do. And you folks say,
Guys, listen up here, guys.
I'm just showing him so we
Okay,
understand.
sorry.
you folks decide based upon how much controversy there was or whatever, that we can accept this plan, and then you approve it. And then when council approves it, we entrench that into a development agreement.
Right.
You have to adhere to this concept plan. So I think there's some wiggle room in the bylaw. If there's minor little changes, there's always minor little changes when you go from a concept high level to the actually build it. But it still has to go back to the planning board and council to get them to sign off on it. In that case, the issue was design, but staff didn't ask for design. Design wasn't a criteria, but it's what they showed the public. And you folks represent the public when you say, yes,
Okay.
this is all acceptable. So all we're saying is, I said at the meeting, I can live with either design, but somebody needs to indicate that the design change is acceptable to the community. We can live with either, but the fact is, like, when I'm at a public meeting.
Can you repeat that again, please, that one?
Well, it's just, when the public, at a public meeting, you're engaging with the public. Staff are really not. You're engaging with the public.
Right.
The developer has shown through the public process something that he's indicated he's prepared to do.
Oh.
And then in your decision-making, you say yay or nay.
Okay, so if I may stop you, so moving forward, anytime we're doing future comprehensive design decisions
Developer, yeah.
review,
Yeah.
we should be telling the developer, now, whatever you put on that paper, you owe to the public.
Well, and this is the big issue for staff, in
Right.
that the people make these changes.
Right.
And then people say to staff, we have a legal agreement that's been directed by you folks to implement the comprehensive development area as proposed, and when it changes, somebody needs to sign off on it.
Yeah, right, so, but, two questions, did the developer know?
Yes, I
putting
think
the
they
picture
do,
on
they
the.
do know, and look, things
Yeah.
do change, and that's why.
And I understand
Right,
that,
yeah.
but that's all the more reason why they'd be best just to put a box in where the development is and not put a
But
design.
It's critical to the public
At
and the
that point.
neighborhood they're in. They want to see the design.
Correct.
That is the primary thing they want to see.
Right, but then a comprehensive development and what the neighbors wanna see is not the same thing. A comprehensive, the comprehensive design is for the developer to give the community an idea of how many units are going to be, how many are townhouses, how many are ones, whatever, apartment, whatever. Where does it say in the development comprehensive design plan that what the developer shows is what he has to stick with? That should be said somewhere. Then there's clear as mud. You show the public, you've got to put that in.
We may need to improve that.
Right.
But the reality, though, is that these are, you're there to protect the public interest when you say yes to these developments, and you
Right.
say, this is what we want staff to get them to
Right.
do. Now, again, on the design that was provided, there are two different designs, and somebody asked the question, how did that happen? Because you have to go back, they tend to be standard approvals, that here's the first phase, it's exactly what was proposed. That's what you usually see. But staff had to highlight, there is a significant, or not a significant, I don't know if that's the right, there is a change in that, and you need to be aware of that, and are you comfortable with that? And as I mentioned, and I will provide the minutes of that meeting, the public hearing. If people weren't commenting significantly on that as a decision maker, as a counselor, if design wasn't a major issue, maybe a little easier for you folks to say, well, look, one design is as good as the other, wasn't a major issue, but you may be in a situation on a comprehensive development area that design was everything, and then maybe the developer adjusted the design to meet the local threshold for what they thought was appropriate in the area.
And what made this really difficult, Your Worship, was the fact that everyone in the room agreed it was much better. Like,
The new design.
what they want to do is nicer, there's no doubt, but how do we know what the neighbors want, right? I mean,
So then the other option is you go back to a public hearing, but going back to a public hearing on that limited aspect of that development, I think somebody brought that up, is going to be difficult, because when you get into a public meeting, they're gonna think you're revisiting the whole decision.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's the
Yes.
trouble, right?
Yeah.
So again, just to reiterate.
But that's up to the city to communicate that to the
Yeah.
public.
Well, yeah, when we go to do this public meeting, we need to explain very clearly as to why we're having the public meeting.
And the public discussion we're having right now is part of that education
Yeah.
or getting the information.
Yeah.
That's why I'm glad that it's in the open session, because I look at the two designs, it doesn't really matter to me, but where the issue is sensitive and it doesn't
Yeah.
look harmonious to what the neighborhood
Yeah. There
feels
are-
is
Yeah.
what fits and what doesn't fit, I can see where Alex is coming from.
Yeah.
Like,
But
from a personal opinion, I like the second one better than the first.
Oh, yeah, we all
That's
do.
just my personal opinion.
Right.
I don't speak for.
Right, and you're not living in that area to say,
That's right,
yeah.
and it's
But,
not
you know,
fair for me to.
But at the end of the day, I would have to say, planning board made the right decision.
And the planning decision was to
Is that it
go
would-
ahead with the new design.
No, it was, that it was a major change that we need to go back to a public meeting.
And it's going to council.
It's going- it would go to council Monday night.
Decide that. None of us were comfortable enough to just talk
We have
about
people in there,
us,
even
especially,
architects.
and my point of that was because we did not get a recommendation from our professional planners.
Mhm.
But again, it's exactly the same issue that you have. How can staff indicate when the public were provided with a diagram, and again, I'm not trying to put this back on the council, but you folks approve them, we implement them. So it's
But
not our decision.
Yeah.
They changed their plans, it really should go back to public meeting.
So my-
It's our job to make sure
But my
that
argument to
the
that
public
is,
understands.
you're right, but you could use that argument the other way too. In every other single solitary situation that comes from planning staff, it comes with a recommendation. Every other
Mhm.
That's the first time I've never seen a recommendation, not a
Yeah,
recommendation.
and,
But again, it has to do with, staff can't override the public. You folks deal with the public. So I think we all agree that there's a change. How good or bad that change is, but staff we can, again, live with either of those options.
but could design review though, Alex, not look at that? Like,
That may be an
you know,
option for you, like, I'll have to think about that, but
Yeah,
that may be an
I think, did it
You know.
not go to design review?
See, there's no design criteria, and that's why staff didn't weigh in on it, because when you're in a CDA zone, it's
See?
the developer that puts out what he wants to do.
Right.
And so that, it's his plan that he, if you want to use the term, sold to you and the public.
So, Mr. Chair, the public meeting would be only on the change of the design.
Of design, of the
And if
design.
other issues come up,
We got
no, that's
Right, right.
why we're not here.
Yeah, that's
We're here
done.
just
Yeah.
for the design review.
Yeah.
That here's what was presented.
Yeah.
We're being open, transparent,
Yeah.
and right now accountable by showing you the new design.
we didn't
Now,
want it to go.
I don't like it because what about the road? No, no, no,
No.
no. Back to the
No,
subject.
this is simply on the design of the building, right? And the changes they made.
And you know yourself, there will be
Yeah.
some that will come to the meeting to say, no, what about, it doesn't fit the neighbor. Well, no,
That's done,
we passed that.
yeah.
That's up to the chair of the meeting to redirect.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, this is
Yeah.
where you have to
Yeah, we have to be.
stay the course.
So-
But who knows, you know, there's a recommendation going to
Yeah.
council.
But moving forward on that, maybe from the comprehensive, going forward, it should go to design review, maybe, when it comes time to actually put the building up, design review should look at that, I guess.
It would be design review, but there may be a way to tighten that up. But again, it's a tricky thing, and we get this a lot, and I get criticized. I gotta be careful here, but there's a very large building in the downtown that was dealt with when I wasn't here. And I've heard more iterations of the story on how that building came into being. And again, and then the public expected one thing, and they got another building.
Al.
Yeah.
Alex, I know the building you're talking
Yeah,
about.
but-
I wasn't on council,
Right.
but I know, that changed.
Yeah.
And it changed again. And then what the end result is, wait now, this is not what we saw at the
public meeting, yeah.
What he's doing.
So
Something changed.
Right.
What do you mean?
So that's the issue. I mean, we work for you folks as the council. We bring things to you that that are straightforward. But this is a change, and it affects the public. How do I put this another way? A lot of times, these reports, when we write a report to you folks, it is a highly technical report, and the public part of that is really outside of us. You're there to listen to them. My job is on a planning report. If the public says something that's really relevant and it's not in the planning report, I think that we made a mistake. But most of the things are in the planning reports, but you look at the public very differently than we do.
And Mr. Chair, again, we're always looking for more information,
Yeah.
correct? And this is now changed. This is new information because proposed changes, correct?
Yeah,
There is a change, and
Of what it'll look like.
Right.
Not how it will taste.
No, it's
or
not
how it will
changing like-
smell,
it's
or how it will look.
yeah,
Right.
like,
And in terms of transparency, I mean,
Yeah.
to-
and I,
What's that?
in terms of being open and transparent, I mean, it was only right for the public to be made aware of this and.
Oh, yeah, oh, I fully agree. No. The example, Councilor Yankoff, that Alex is using, that was a significant build in the downtown, and how it changed, and what was the end result? Everybody was hiding. Oh, no, I didn't know about that, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, no one knew
Well, it took 3 months to get the sign up. Oh, I didn't know there was, I didn't even see it, I wasn't downtown.
yeah, that was the way that,
Ask Ellen.
okay,
Ellen
so,
and I were here.
I think we have a little bit of, we could have a discussion also on that moving forward on just, is there a smoother process of what the.
The
what
process is when you make a contract with the public and council, the onus is on you as the developer to adhere to it
Right.
relatively
Well,
closely.
then, and we're in the right, we just have to, we sell this thing when we go to do it, that we're not it's not a full-scale, wide-open meeting again, it's
No,
only,
it's
just.
it's
on
very
the-
specific.
Very
Yeah.
specific, yeah. Okay,
I don't like the street maps, no, there's not the street
Yeah,
maps, it's about
yeah.
the design of the building.
okay. Anything else, folks, on the new business? I see nothing.
Move to adjourn.
Adjourn right here, and second by Councilman
Thanks,
McKay.
sir.
And Joe,
Have a good weekend.
your weekend,
Just-
don't